Hello everybody, welcome back to the Night Owl Chronicles YouTube channel podcast.
Yeah. We hope you all had a really good Halloween, and as you can see, we're in our new boutique style studio. So this is where we'll be doing all future recordings, and it's good. There's a lot of light now. It's a lot more lighter. It's not so dark. So we're really happy about it. And today we're not going to do any chapter reading today. We're going to cover several topics. So we will be talking about that. Okay, for one, that we are back and we brought something. You can't see it if you're listening, but we actually have our Michael Myers figurine that we absolutely love. Now that, it basically, in recognition now that the new one is coming out now, so it's supposedly like the new sequel from the original one, so it's kind of, I think, forgetting about all the other ones, but we're looking forward to watching it. We actually saw the original one a few days ago again, and we really, really loved it.
I remember watching the first one many years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is scary.
Yeah. So now, instead of being scared, you kind of look at it and you just appreciate it. Because that was obviously Jamie Lee Curtis is the Scream Queen, but you look at it now and you just appreciate it as a classic horror movie. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about what we've been up to lately and talking about our third book, also how we're starting our fourth book in the series, and we'll also be talking about Cinema 4, which is book 2, and I'm going to ask the audience or the viewers or the listeners some questions, and we'll give you some of our answers. So it's going to be a fun recording, so we hope you have fun listening or watching. So yeah.
So everybody, I hope you enjoy our new studio. I am so proud of it. It is awesome.
Yeah, listen,
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we just set it up. It got set up very quickly. It's still a work in progress, so you'll see some changes. And yeah, we've got some fun figurines around us. We've got Jack the Pumpkin King with Zero. We've got one of the Gremlins, face hugger there from Aliens, and it kind of just shows what some of our favorite movies as well. So we're going to add some more in. We've got some new posters, so we are going to keep dressing the place up. So it really reflects who we are.
Okay. I'm going to talk about what have we been up to. I know we haven't been doing releasing our recordings every week as usual. The reason being because we've been very, very tied up with our third book. And the good news is that we have completed our third book titled Flight of No Return. I have to admit, it was fun writing this book. I do think we went further with the horror and the violence.
Yeah.
But I think the audience will be very, very surprised the twist involved with Flight of No Return.
Yeah, well, every good story has to have a plot twist, and I found this one a bit more challenging to write because there's a lot of technical words and procedures that we had to include in the book. Obviously, when you're flying, and there's the captain and there's the flight attendants, they've got their own protocols and their own way of doing things. So it did involve a lot of research because we want it to be as authentic and real as possible. So only that aspect, I did find it a bit of a challenge because it was all new to me. Some words, just the way they go about doing things. If there's an emergency, for me, it was a challenge. I didn't know. We learnt a lot about what they do, especially if there's an emergency or if there's something very bad happening or violent things happening on the plane. So what do they do? What codes do they use? So I was actually really admiring. I think it kind of gives you a new respect for them. They do a lot more than just serve us drinks. There's a lot of things that they have to follow. Absolutely.
That's true. Aviation is a very interesting industry. Especially when you do your own research and you find out the structure of the plane, where are the avionics, the cargo hold, hydraulics. It was amazing to do the research to write this book. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I think the only thing we're going to tell you is a very quick synopsis of what it's about. So the Flight of No Return is essentially about a flight attendant, a very young flight attendant who her name is Lisa Gates, and she's very ambitious. She loves her job and all this, but there is a bit of an issue when she's on the plane and it's bound for England.
That's right, yes.
It's bound for England, from Los Angeles to England, and it looks like there is something evil that's just out to get her. And of course, when you're so many thousands of feet in the air, there's only so many places you can hide. You can't exactly just open the door and leave. It's, flying above the ocean. So the whole question is she going to make it out alive? Is she going to solve this problem about who or what is trying to harm her before the plane lands? And more of a bad thing is that, what happens when you're the only person experiencing this horror thing happening towards you and nobody believes you, even the captain. So she has to basically try and survive the flight. But of course, like we've always said to you, everything in the world of the Night Owl Chronicles, not everybody makes it out alive and no one is safe except for us. But it's I do agree with Sam, it is darker, it's a lot more grim, and it does pose the question, how is she going to get out of this? Because she's on a plane, she's stuck inside a plane, she has to serve passengers. And like I said, there's only so many places where she can hide. That's true. It's, as much as the plane is big, when you try and look for hiding spots, you realise it's pretty small, the plane. So it's...
And she is, the flight is 10 hours. So try to imagine if somebody was out to get you and you're on a plane for 10 hours, what would you do?
Yeah, and the thing is, you see things, you hear things, you experience things, and when you tell other people, nobody believes you, even though it's real, what you see is real. So, that's all we're going to say. It's a very big tease, what we've just said. But as a heads up, we've always said to you that all the characters are connected. Like every story, every book in the series are different, but nearly all of the characters are connected in some mysterious way. So for those who have read The Door, Josh Riley has a girlfriend, and her name in The Door, her name is Emma Gates, and she just happens to be the sister of Lisa Gates, who is the flight attendant in Flight of No Return.
Now, she gets mentioned in book 1. They have a very...
it's like a heated talk.
Talk. Emma goes over Josh's house and she said, something's wrong with my sister. I had a phone call from her. She didn't sound right. She sounded afraid. In book number 3, you find out what the conversation is about. You find out what happened between Lisa and Emma.
Yeah. So again, the reason why we do this is just to show you how the world is very big and everybody has their own story. Essentially, the bottom line is we're kind of all connected in some mysterious way. And that's why we're if you look at the family tree of the Night Owl Chronicles book series, it all comes down to The Door. So that's where it all starts. And, just like we've mentioned before in book 2, Josh Riley's neighbour is Isabel Humphrey, and she's got her own story in Cinema 4, which is book 2. So everyone is connected, they all have their own stories. But I do think that Lisa Gates, in book 3, her story is very...
twisted.
I think it's very misleading as well.
Misleading?
Yeah, it's just very dark, it's very grim. We're very proud of it though, because it definitely forced us out of our comfort zone as writers, because we had to do a lot of research to make sure that we understood aviation terms and their protocols. So then we have to implement that in the book and make sure if we understand it, then the reader has to understand it as well. So if we're confused, then obviously the reader has no hope as well. So that's a big heads up of book 3. That's
But I think though, now that the next book that's going to come out is Cinema 4, book 2, we've got to give our audience, what's that one about?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Trust me, you have something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask our listeners, viewers, something. If you walked into the cinema with a very bad hangover and you fell asleep, and during the movie you woke up completely alone, everybody is gone. It's just you, the big white screen, and that's it.
Yeah, there's some emptied soda cans and popcorn left over, but you're completely alone. It's like everybody left and they forgot about you. Nobody bothered to wake you up. They just left. So
this is where the story begins.
it is the cinema itself is based inside basically one of America's largest malls. So, of course, the actual story is set in a very big place. But when she walks out of the cinema, sometimes it's every person's dream to have the entire mall to themselves, because you can do whatever you want. Problem is, though, when she does walk out of the cinema, she sees this huge, empty mall before her. Something's not right. It's like there's thousands of people in that mall. It's one of the biggest malls, and everyone has just got up and left, and escape is impossible. So she must find a way. She has to find her stepbrother as well, but she has to find a way to get out, but she has to know what's going on as well. Why did everyone just disappear? And why is it that she's the only one left behind? So it's, I found probably book 3, and I'm comparing books here, we've always said it that book 1 had a very
slow start.
Yeah, it was like a slow start, but had a very slow build up to this tension, this horror of what Josh Riley's experiencing, where Cinema 4, by chapter 2, it just gets straight into it. And I think it's very dark, though.
Actually, we should tell our viewers and listeners, how did we come up with Cinema 4? It all started one day. We were both having lunch together, and we both had this similar crazy idea where I told Alison, hey Alison, I've got this an idea for a story where a girl goes to the cinema, she falls asleep, and when she wakes up, she's completely alone. And Alison had a similar idea where a girl is at the mall, she quickly goes to the toilet, and when she comes out, everybody is missing. So what we did...
It's strange that we have the same idea.
That's very strange. So we both combined both ideas, and we came up with Cinema 4. And another...
I think it's a fun fact, actually. It's a weird fact.
If you want to know as well, why did we pick Cinema 4? Why number 4? Well, you will notice Josh Riley lives in number 4, Chronicles Street. She goes into Cinema 4. Number 4 is... has a bad reputation. 4 is not a good number, I have to admit.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
It's a struggling number.
Yes, where I remember once they said that if you live in the house number 4, that it's hard to get things finished in that house. Something always breaks, and basically it's just everything seems to be like a struggle. And we actually spoke to once a real estate agent, and he said that he notices a lot of houses that sell the number 4. And superstitious people actually don't want to buy a house. If they find out it's number 4, and it doesn't matter how beautiful the house is, they actually want nothing to do with the house. So we just kind of kept listening to this number 4, and it's got such a bad reputation though. So we thought, let's just incorporate a number that has a bad rap into our books. I always thought it was actually the number 9, but it depends where you're from. I think it means death or it means luxury. Depends where you come from though. But unfortunately, number 4, nobody likes it. So we, it's Cinema 4 is, I think it already starts off bad. It does. It does, whereas book 1 with the door,
it's a build up.
It's a build up, Josh Riley, the protagonist, is going through so much already, and he's questioning his sanity, whereas Cinema 4 just gets straight into this horror of just that feeling of abandonment, of being alone, of just feeling that void, that emptiness, where has everyone gone, and why am I the only one left behind? So in that sense, it really, I think it does, it's creepy in that sense. I've always had, a fantasy of being alone in a shopping centre where I can have the whole shopping centre to myself to do whatever I want. But in this case, it's very different. She's alone for all the wrong reasons.
I think the funny part is that people will get the wrong idea of Cinema 4. They will. Some people have said to us, "Oh, does your character go to see a horror movie?" It's actually quite the opposite. She goes with her half brother Jason to watch a cartoon.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the subtitle that we've put. We always say it starts and it ends in Cinema 4, which is very true. The book starts in Cinema 4 and it ends in Cinema 4. So
that was fun to write.
Yeah, it's very easy especially if you love horror, supernatural, paranormal. It's very easy to go dark. Of course, like we've always said, we don't want to gross the reader out. We want the reader to think, what would they do in that situation?
And I think they'll be entertained. They'll be entertained in the point that what's going to happen next. We seem to do that with most of our chapters, leave the reader with a cliffhanger so they can think, oh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen with Isabel? Where's her brother? Why is he missing?
Yeah, most important for us, it has to be a fast-paced, it's got to be an easy book to read as well. We don't want to take the fun out of writing, and we don't want to take the fun out of reading as well. So it's, I found Cinema 4 easy to read. Like I said, I found book 3 a bit more challenging, but
not just that, the location's completely different. We focused book 1 on a house.
Yeah.
Here we went very broad. We went very big in a big shopping mall.
Yeah.
Very different setting from the door to Cinema 4. Very different.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because you think it's the largest mall that there's a lot of places to hide. Like I've said, there's only so many places you can hide on a plane, whereas you think in America's largest mall that you can pick and choose where you want to hide. That's not the case. Absolutely, it's not the case at all. Sometimes she is forced just to be out there in the middle of the mall. So it's circumstances. That's why we're not going to give too much away, of course, because we're waiting for it to be released. But it really shows and does pose a question: what would you do if you woke up and you found yourself abandoned? Your friends, your family, they all left. Strangers are gone. Just all the belongings are left behind, and you just woke up. And I have a feeling. I try to imagine it's not a good feeling because you think, why me? Why am I the only one left behind? What's going on? So we are, though, since we've had book 1 published, we have finished Cinema 4 and we finished Flight of No Return. We have just started book 4. So as you can see, we do love writing supernatural, horror. We love all of that.
We just don't stop.
Yeah, we don't stop. So we're not going to reveal the title yet, as we think it's probably a bit too soon though, but the only thing we're going to say is this: it is based in Australia.
In a very iconic location.
Yeah, so for those that know iconic places in Australia, try and have a really good think. It's not a happy place, that's all we're going to say. And yes, Australia has its own history. It's got iconic places where it's got a nice past, some others not a nice past. So try and think of iconic places.
Well, where do you think our next book will be based? It'll definitely be Australia.
Yeah, what state do you think it's going to be based in? And in that state, there is a place that is very popular. It is famous in its own right for the history that it has. Some people find it very creepy. We've even known someone that actually doesn't want to drive past it.
We were actually there.
Alison and I are
huge researchers. We will go above and beyond to get our research. It's to the point that we've been turned away from certain people to go away, which is fair enough.
I think we shouldn't have been journalists then.
But this particular place where our 4th book will be based, we actually went. We went and we had a look at the location. We looked at the history. It's got I can't even explain how much history this place has.
One thing, I didn't realise how dark that place was. Exactly. I mean, given the place, you think that, there's going to be dark history, disturbing facts, but I didn't think it was going to be that disturbing.
Yeah, I found it absolutely fascinating when we went. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was a very good history lesson.
Very good history lesson. I even learned a couple of things. Yeah. And as soon as we left this place, I knew Alice and I, we looked at each other and we said, yes, we need to base the 4th book here.
Absolutely.
We were just in sync. We were throwing ideas at each other. We're like, yes, let's do this.
Well, that's the thing. We knew where we wanted to base it. And we knew that it had to be an iconic place in Australia where, I mean, some people might say it's not iconic, others might say it is. In our opinion, we do think it is only because of the history of certain people that were there, certain famous people that were there, and just, it's still there, it's still standing, but we're not, that's all we're going to tell you, that it is based in Australia, that it's based in a place where people will actually pay to go and see it. And yeah, so we're basing the book there, book 4, and I believe this is just my perspective, I don't know about yours, Sam, but I think this book 4 will probably be, so far, be one of the darkest ones that we have written. And the only reason why I say that is because of the actual location.
I'm gonna agree because it's
the location.
Not exactly a place you go.
You really wouldn't go there to have a picnic with your family.
It's not.
You just
it's
wouldn't.
Not.
So it's
probably a place to go and for a good history lesson. That's pretty much it. And find out what happened to this place during
the time that it was operating. Just what was happening. I mean, when we found out certain things, we thought, wow, like this was happening in that, back then. And it was like, wow, it shows you how dark the human being can be, how twisted the mind can be, that's all we're going to say. So,
but we will reveal as weeks go by, we promise to reveal what our 4th book will be titled and where it will be.
Yep.
I'm so looking forward to it. I can't start to write. I just can't wait to start to write this.
Yeah, I'm sure many of you here based in Australia and in a particular state have actually been there or have driven past it without even realising. So yeah, I believe this one's going to be a lot darker.
Yeah.
And I know that we've started the whole planning of it and I'm already enjoying it. So it's going to be a very good history lesson for you as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So a question, this is a fun question now. What did everybody do during Halloween? Huh?
Well,
I ate a lot of candy, I'll tell you that.
I ate a lot. I don't regret it. I'm paying for it now. But I did watch the original, the first Halloween. And that's what we were saying at the start of this recording was that I remember when we were watching it as children, we were petrified, absolutely petrified. But now you look at it, of course, you're not scared watching it, but there's just the appreciation that was an original horror movie back then in its own time, and you just appreciate because it's a classic. And obviously, if that, it kind of reminds me of The Door because it's a slow build up to what happens, in the final minutes when Michael Myers attacks Jamie Lee Curtis, or her character was Laurie Strode. That really essentially happens at the end of the movie. That's all. It happens at the end of the movie. So, I've got this entire build-up of this, movie of Michael Myers that comes back to Haddonfield because he wants to kill Laurie Strode and all this. It happens essentially at the end of the movie. If that was released now, I don't think it would be that popular because people want action. They want it now.
They want action. They want it now.
Yeah, but it was perfect when it came out. And we're actually looking forward to watching
I'm curious to see the new one.
Absolutely. We are fans of Jamie Lee Curtis. We love the movie Halloween. But that's the thing, like the horror movies that we like, there's just classic over-the-top horror movies. You've got Halloween, you've got Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger. It's just movies like that when it came out in the late 70s and the 80s, it's just classics. That's the thing. Some of them have been remade. Not really a fan of the remakes, but yeah, we're just really looking forward to watching it. So I have to admit, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I still enjoy it. I have appreciation for it. So
I watched The Simpsons, The Treehouse of Horror for Halloween. I did watch that.
Those are the best.
I watched something a little bit lighter for Halloween, and I saw the old ones and the new ones. Probably, I'm going to say one of my favourite Treehouse of Horror was when Homer sells his soul for a donut.
Mm. That was a good one.
I'm sorry, that is such a funny episode.
Yeah.
I've seen that episode so many times, but when it's on, I'm like, oh, I need to watch this.
Yeah, I think probably my favourite one is when Bart has to read a new book to present to his class. And funny enough, when he goes to the library at school, there's an occult section. and he finds a book of like spells and magic, like what primary school holds an occult section. And he finds a book on like witchcraft and spells and magic. And when he goes back home, he doesn't realize it, but he takes Lisa to the pet cemetery, and he thinks that they're going to raise Snowball. I think it's Snowball 1 or 2, which is Lisa's cat. But he actually raises the dead, and all these zombies come out. And like back then when that came out, I actually found that a little bit scary as a child. But like I just love watching it now. So that's probably one of my favorite Halloween episodes of The Simpsons. Because like Homer, like they're supposed to board up the house, and like he's just sitting down, he's so chilled about it. So
what I find amazing how Halloween, it's an American traditional holiday, but it's slowly come to Australia, and I have to admit, I think every year it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think they said that the version of Halloween for us is actually May 31st. So October the 31st for America or the Northern Hemisphere, and for us will be May the 31st. But the thing is, yeah, so it's catching on here for October the 31st, we've noticed that, like the children on the street, we've noticed that because it's catching up, they're just happy. They get to wear a costume. Actually, we had, I think it was last year, people that did trick-or-treating that came to our door. They were teenagers, and they came with a pillow. Was it a pillowcase? So I think they expected us to fill up their pillowcase with lollies. I'm thinking that's a huge pillowcase, and we don't have that many lollies and chocolates. But it was just nice to see
all the hands, kids. I noticed when they grab the candy, it's...
Well, they've got bigger hands than children, so they really went for it.
They really went for it.
Yeah. We ran out and we had to go back quickly to the shopping centre to get some more. So it is really picking up though, but I think they may
look like small hands, but trust me, when they grab those lollies...
Oh, the kids? Really cool. Yeah. If they go for the double with their hands.
Double hands.
Yeah, so I think I just like seeing it's really taking off, especially with children. Obviously for us, because we love everything scary, we're not complaining. We absolutely love it.
I love it. Yeah. I'm really happy that it's slowly... that we've adapted Halloween thanks to America. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Some people are against it, but it is for fun, you know.
Well, yeah,
it's
listen,
have fun.
Like a lot of people are saying, a lot of holidays now are so commercialised. And yes, you know, we do notice that. Like, you know, I walked into, I think it was Target, and I was a bit confused. You know, I saw half of it was Halloween, the other half was Christmas already. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if it brings out a smile in someone, it's really up to the person what they want to do with it. So, yeah.
Well, Christmas is coming up now, and I love Christmas. I love it.
Yeah, we should probably make a book based around Christmas, or one around Halloween.
A horror book.
Yeah.
Based around Christmas.
Yeah.
Santa goes missing.
Or something. Yeah, well, that's the thing. You can...
Or one of the reindeers.
You can base basically... You know, if you love writing horror, if you love writing supernatural, paranormal, and all that, the opportunities are endless. It doesn't have to be gory, unless you like that. You know, there's an audience or a reader for everything. But for us, you know, we just want to get that creep factor into the stories. We want to creep out our readers. And like we always said, what would you do? So kind of ask yourself in that sense, if you heard a knock at the door at 3 a.m. and you walked out, there was no one, or you looked through the peephole, there was no one, what would you do? And you just can't catch this person at all. So the police come around, that they can't find anything, basically. You know, what would you do? Or, you know, and at the same time you see them testing the door handle, they want to come in. You know, I remember when we wrote that, I've actually said this, I think, before in past recordings, when I think I was writing a chapter, I was editing a chapter very late at night. It was almost 3 a.m, and I just stopped and I thought, what would happen? What would I do right now if someone knocked at the door and I saw that they were testing the door handle? Like, that is really creepy. It is, because it shows that someone is very confident that they want to come inside.
That is creepy.
Or the same with Cinema 4, you know. You've got the whole mall to yourself, but there's something not right. There's someone watching you, or there's someone or something stalking you. And that's the same with, you know, if you're going on the plane.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all we have the time for today. However, though, I hope everybody had an amazing Halloween. I hope you love our new studio.
Yeah, well, it's a work in progress, so you'll see some things added, things taken away, so until we get into the groove of it, but at least we're back to recording.
Okay. We will see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed everything we spoke about today. Have a think about where do you think our next book will be based, and we will reveal in due time. So
Absolutely.
Thank you everybody for watching. We appreciate you all. Thank you for following us, commenting. We really appreciate it.
Yep. So, yeah, have a great week, and we will do another recording in a week. So in the meantime, like we always say, everyone, follow the owl.
Follow the owl.
Have a great week, everyone. Stay safe.
Bye.